Welcome back, guys. We're here to do another video walkthrough. This time we've got the 2021 Hideout 38 FDDS. This is a park model, and it has the size of a travel trailer, but just the length of a park model, so it's got lots of room inside. But we're going to start at the front with the tongue jack. So you've got your ball from your tow vehicle go under here. This goes down into a locking mechanism and holds the ball into there, and then you've got a pin that goes to secure that. If that's not down and locked in place, then it's not safe to tow this unit. Just like any other trailer. You got your chains for towing, and you got your brake control here. So this attaches separately to your tow vehicle, and if that gets pulled using the onboard electric brakes to the battery, it'll pull a pin and the brakes will engage. So if there's ever an incident where the tow vehicle separates, as long as that's connected properly and you got a charge on your battery, then the battery is connected, then your brakes will engage and stop the trailer from rolling away. Behind that, you do have your propane tanks, so there's 30-pounders, two 30-pounders on this. You'll see there's a little valve here to determine what tank. You can run it in the middle, but if you do that, you're going to drain both tanks at the same rate. So we just say, switch it to one side, turn the tank all the way on, let that pressurize the propane plumbing, and then when this starts coming down to the bottom or is empty, then you can switch to this one and get this refilled. That way you always have propane on board, and you don't run out. Right behind, you've got your battery. So this is a new battery, and it's all fully charged. Again, for towing, that has to be charged and connected to the unit to be safely tow. Go around the side. As with every RV, you need to ensure that all the joints and things are caulked properly and the caulking is in good shape. So every joint here along the front, along the roof, all these windows, and then on the slide boxes as well, are all sealed with a residential RV caulking. Or sorry, an RV caulking, not residential. It's a pliable caulking, and depending on what part of the RV, you use a different kind. On the roof, there's a different kind of caulking that's used than along the sides. However, in any case, if over time that caulking can dry out and crack, and then you can let moisture into your unit. So we just say that you should check. The manufacturer says you can check your caulking every 6 months. We say do more than that, and you'll save yourself some grief. If you ever see that the caulking is separated or drying out and cracking, you need to remove that caulking, clean the area, and put in a whole new bead down. And if you continue to do that on a regular basis, visually inspecting your unit, you'll save yourself a big headache. On the roof is the other maintenance item that we always go over. The roof is a rubber membrane, and again, it's pliable, but over time, if it's not conditioned, it will dry out and start to crack, and you can potentially have moisture issues coming in through the roof. So every 6 months, you should use a RV roof cleaner and RV roof conditioner. It doesn't take very long to do it. It's just a spray on, scrub to clean, and then spray on and scrub to condition. Do that every 6 months. Winter or spring, fall kind of thing, and your roof will last you quite a long time. So those two main items, caulking and roof maintenance, are key to the longevity of your RV, so make sure you're doing that. On this unit, depending on where it's going, you do have stabilizers. They're just a mechanical manual crank, and there's a handle inside. Put your handle on that and you just turn it down. Now with stabilizers, you want to put them down on a pad, either blocking or plastic blocking, depending on what you want. Don't put them right on the grass or the gravel, because they can sink in that. You want a little more stability, and then when you do get them down, it's just to snug them up. So you don't want to try and lift the trailer with these. They're not designed to lift the weight of the trailer. They're only designed to stop that rocking motion. So get them down till they're snug and stop, and then you should be good. If you try and lift the trailer, you'll probably damage this jack or multiple jacks, and also you'll start to put a little bit of a bow in your frame, which makes all your doors stop lining up and they may not close correctly. So just stabilization, not for weight. Coming back along again, you've got all your caulking that you got to make sure you're checking on a regular basis, all through the slide box. This is your main dinette and living room slide. And then following back to this side, you've got your power input. So this is a 50 amp trailer, which means to run the trailer properly, you need 50 amps at your site. Sometimes you may only get 30 depending on where you're setting it up. It will run on 30, but you may not be able to run all of your options in the trailer at the same time like you would on 50. This connection is, you just connect it out, slide it out, you'll see that it's got the 4 or the 3 prongs in it, and then you've got a locking pin. So there's a guide right here that lines up with a little hole on the thing here. You line those up, put it in, and then turn it to the right, and then just lock it down with the plastic ring there, and then you're connected. Now on the other end of your the power cable, it looks like this. It'll be a 4-pin. Okay, so that's 50 amp. If you don't have 50 amp, we always supply our 50 amp RVs with a 50 to 30 adapter, and so you connect your 50 into the 30, and then that 30 will go into a 30 amp site. So it depends on what you have. We just didn't want you to get to a campsite or get this set up and not have that adapter, so we always supply 50 amp trailers with that. Right beside the power inlet is an outside shower. Just unlock and pull out. You'll see that you've got hot and cold running water and a shower head that you can run and rinse yourself off, or the dogs or the kids or whatever is necessary. It's a nice little feature to get all the dirt and grass or sand off you before you go in the unit. And there's a little mechanism that holds it there if you want to just put it there and then have a shower going down. Underneath that, we've got the city water connection. So when you're ready to connect your unit to water at the post, you take your hose from the post, connect it into here. You turn this to actually secure the water hose to the unit, and then snug it down until it stops any kind of dripping. You don't want to try and over tighten that. It is a plastic style fitting. If you over tighten it, you could crack it and need to replace it. So just snug it down so it stops dripping, and then turn on your hose to pressurize the plumbing on the inside. Now, when you're running off of city water, you don't need to use your electric water pump. The pressure from the tap or wherever you're hooked up to will pressurize all the plumbing, and all your showers and taps will work. If you do want to run fresh water, we'll show you that in a minute where that is, but to get that water out of that tank, you need to run your electric water pump. That will pressurize the plumbing from the tank, and you'll be able to use that tank up, but we'll talk a little more about that when we get to it. Your septic system flush is right here. So again, you hook your hose, or connect your hose to this, snug it down, and then turn on the water to start flushing out your black tank. One thing to point out is that you don't want to do this and keep your black tank valves and gray valves closed, because you'll fill that tank up and then it'll start boiling up, and then potentially have a issue on the inside or overflowing your tanks and everything. So just connect there, open your valves to your septic beds to make sure they're draining, and turn that on and let it flush the tank out. And be careful that you don't confuse which one is which. So make sure your city water connection, you're connecting that correctly, and then you're good. This is your city water. This is your tank flush. So on the underneath here, we've got your output for your septic system. So you're going to require an RV septic hose. It connects right here. Take this off, connect your hose onto it, and then that goes into your septic system, wherever, campsite or on your lot. Make sure that's all connected before you open any valves. When it's time to flush your black tank and your gray tank, this is your black tank valve here, so you'd pull that out. That would drain the black tank into the plumbing, and then the gray tank is that valve right over there. We do say try and empty the black tank first and flush it down with the gray. Your black tank is your toilet, and then your gray is everything else, so your sinks and showers and stuff. So the gray is a little cleaner than the black, so give yourself a chance to clean up the hose and stuff with a little bit of gray water after the black. When you are connected to a septic system, you still want to keep these valves closed. You don't want to keep them open at the campground while you're camping, because you can let gases from the septic system into the unit that way. So keep them closed until the tanks say that they're 3/4 or full, ready to be dumped or full. Then dump them out and then close them back again. All right, we'll keep going. This is the back side of your bedroom slide. And again, you've got your rear stabilizer in this case, so again, just for stabilization, not for weight. Rear tail lights, turn signals, and driving lights. And you also have an input for if you have a cable system in the campground or wherever you are, so you hook it up there. That will feed the signal to the different areas that where the TV connections are. Come around this corner, this is where your hot water tank is. So I'll go that again. So to open this little tab, flip up, turn sideways, and let it pull through. You'll see that this is electric and propane. So to run electric, you need to be plugged into the 30 amp or 50 amp power. To run the propane, you can run the propane off the battery. So depending on what your needs, depending on your power requirements or how you're hooked up. The propane obviously needs to be turned on and the system needs to be pressurized. Sometimes there's a little bit of air in the line, so I do recommend that when it's the first time you turn your tank on after a while or what have you, that you go into your range and turn it on and run the propane burning on the range for a little bit to get all the oxygen out or the air out of the lines, and then your tank will ignite properly. It'll try 3 times to ignite and then give you a fault, and that typically means that it doesn't have any propane coming to it. So it might be just air coming through that needs to be purged out. The other thing to remember with your hot water tank is that you want to make sure this is full with water before you turn on any of the elements, either to run the propane or the electric. If you don't have any water in there, you can damage the tank itself and potentially need to replace it or at least the element. So just make sure. And the way I do it is I turn on the plumbing, or I pressurize the system with the city water. I let this fill up, and then I have this valve open. Once water starts coming out, I know it's full. Close the pressure relief valve, and then I know I've got water in there. So at that point, it's good to go. So coming down the back of the side here, we've got your steps into your bedroom with the door locking and everything, and then you keep coming farther down. You've got an area that if you wanted to mount an outside TV, that's an output from the if you're running cable in through the unit, that would be an output to your TV. And then you can mount your TV right here with a quick mount, and then you get your power plug here. Now again, you have to be plugged into 30 amp or 50 amp power for this plug to operate. A little farther down, you've got the back side of your furnace here. So this is the outlet. When you're running the furnace, this is going to get hot. It is burning propane to heat the air. So just be careful of any kids touching this. The other thing to watch for is if you haven't run this in a period of time. So if you if it's summertime, you didn't run it all summer and it's the fall and you want a little heat, make sure you do a visual inspection of these exhaust vents here, because if there's a nest of wasps or bugs or anything in there that's blocking it, you could have a fire hazard. So do a visual inspection, make sure it's clean and clear before you do that. Now this is your freshwater onboard storage, like we talked about earlier. This is, you take the cap off, you stick your hose in there. The hose is not attached to this. It just fills in, and then when it's full, you take your hose out. Now that water can be pressurized with your electric water pump inside, and that'll force all the water in there into your taps, your showers, your taps, everything like that from that pump. Now that is essentially would be drinking water if you're going to brush your teeth or whatever. So make sure that whatever water is in this tank is fresh and clean, and do a cleaning of that tank once in a while if you're going to use it, because if you put water in there and leave it there for a while, it becomes stagnant, and then if you try and run that through your taps, that's what's going to come out in your taps. So just be careful that that's clear, fresh water and replenished on a regular basis if you're going to use that. A little further down, you've got your steps. Now this does have a patio door, so whether you're going to build a deck on the side of this, you probably won't need to fold these out. If you are going to build a deck along this unit, we always say leave about 3 inches. It seems like a big gap, but as the winter time comes and the freeze and thaw of the frost and everything, the deck can move and the trailer can move, and if they move together and they're pushing on each other, you could have damage to the trailer. We've seen it lots of times where they've come together and it's caused problems. So just be careful if you're going to build a deck that you give that space for movement throughout the season. That's your sliding patio door. There is a screen that goes on here for this. It's currently sitting on the bed. We try and send them out without the screens on them so that they don't have damage on travel. So we leave them that way. And then the final thing to cover is your awning. So your awning is powered. And it's got an LED strip underneath it, and it's all controlled from the panel inside. Now with your awning, this is a big one. But with any awning, they're really just made for sunshade. We don't recommend you have them out in the rain or any kind of wind. In either case, the weight of the rain or the wind can damage the structure of the awning and potentially make you replace it. So just be careful that you only have it out in the sun. And then if you're going to leave your trailer for any extended period of time, make sure you put that awning away, because you don't know what could happen. You could have a rainstorm, windstorm when you're away and completely destroy your awning. So just be careful with it. They're great for some, but just if there's going to be any kind of real rain or wind, let's put them away, and you'll save yourself a headache. Okay, so that's the outside of the Hideout 38 FDDS, so let's take a look on the inside. Okay guys, welcome to the inside. We're going to start here at the panel, just inside the bathroom door, or outside the bathroom door here. So a lot of your options and functions of this unit are operated right from here. So we're going to start at the top. This is your levels. So if you want to know the level of your battery, you click the battery button and it'll show you, in this case it's full. Freshwater onboard storage is empty, black is empty, black tube empty, gray, and gray is empty. So if you ever want to know what any of these are, that's how you check your levels. Again, when you get up to that 2/3 to full, you really want to make sure you dump that black or gray tanks, just to make sure that you're not filling them up too far. This little fault over here is for your water heater. So if I put it on gas here, you'll see that that lights up as it attempts to start igniting the water heater. I don't have any propane in it, but it'll try 3 times, and then that light will come and stay on and saying that there's no propane there. If it does actually ignite, because you have propane in the system, it will go away and stay away while it's running on the propane. So we're going to turn that off. If you want to run an electric, that's your electric button. You have to be plugged into power at the post, so 30 amps, 50 amps power to run your electric water heater, and make sure in both cases you have water in the tank. The water pump, so again, to review, this water pump is for your fresh water storage. It's not for your city water connection. In your fresh water, you fill up the tank and then you run your pump. You'll hear a little whirring as that pressurizes the plumbing of the inside of the unit from that water tank. When it pressurizes it to where it needs to be, it'll turn the pump off automatically. You can just leave this button on, and then if you run your water, it'll then start pressurizing again to keep that pressure up. So again, only for onboard fresh water storage, not for your city water connection. Your awning light, so this is how you turn your awning light, the LED strip underneath it, on and off. It's great for nighttime. And then you've got some switches here for lights on the ceiling, so different areas of the lights in the unit. Each one of those lights is independently controlled, so you can turn them all on and then turn a couple off manually by yourself, depending on what lighting you need. This one here is not labeled, but this is your bedroom slide. So makes the slide come in, and out goes the slide, pushes the slide out. In both cases, you don't want to run the slide halfway in or halfway out, unless you're just getting into it for a minute to deal with some just getting in and out of the unit. If you're camping, make sure that is all the way in or all the way out. The slides are not designed to be halfway. Plus the rubber seals won't seal themselves up. So all the way in or all the way out. This is your dinette slide. So this is the main one here in the living space. So again, in or out, and don't run them halfway in and halfway out. Your awning is this option here. So if you want to pull your awning in, it's up, and if you want to extend it, it's out. Again, make sure that your awning is all the way in and attached to the side of the trailer, and then when you roll it out, you'll get a flap that comes at the very end. That means that your awning is all the way out. So that's your panel. Down below is your HVAC system. So to turn it on, you press the mode button, and you'll see it off currently at the bottom here. It's very tiny, but it says off. Then if I want to turn it on, I press it again. So the first setting is your fan speed, and so this is just going to turn the fan on. You can set it to auto, or you can set it to high or low, depending on what you want. I typically say just leave it in auto if you're going to run the fan. Let it determine how much speed it needs. Then if I want to cool the unit, I press the mode again to get to AC, cool, and then I set my temperature. So if I say I want it to go up here, say 68, then the AC will turn on, and then try and get the temperature of the unit down to 68. Now in an RV, you're never going to get down to low 60s, especially in a hot day. So because of that, the air conditioner will bring it down to a comfortable temperature. But if it's really hot out, it won't bring it down to like really cold. So just be careful of that, or be cognizant of that. So then the last mode, if I move over, is to furnace. And again, you can set your speeds on your fan based on the first option, and then you set your temperature, about what temperature you want that furnace to raise the temperature of the inside of the unit to. Again, you do need propane in the system, and you need to have purged the system of any kind of air before that furnace is going to light properly. But it will light once there's propane active, and then bring your temperature up to the thing. And then the last is to turn it back over to off. When you're switching between those different settings, give the unit a couple of minutes per change for it to cycle through and make the change. Don't expect it to turn right off or on. It needs to kind of go through its cycle, and then each option would turn on and off depending on what you're looking for. Okay, so we're going to come back to this side, start walking down the kitchen. This is your big residential fridge. Your cooling temperatures is all set in here, so you determine if you want the freezer or the fridge, and then you can set your temperature. Lots of space in this one, a real nice stainless steel front fridge, and big freezer as well. Then you've got your cooktop and your range. So your range is glass, gives you a little more counter space, but when you open it up, you got the 3 burners. You have to have propane in the system, but if I want to ignite this one, they're all done the same. But if I want to bring this one on, this is my option. I turn it to gas, and then I click this here, and you'll see a spark ignite in every case. So if I had gas and propane coming into the system, that would ignite now, and then I'd set my temperature or how much flame I want on the burner, and then back to off when I'm done. So that's how you operate the 3 burners there. The oven is the same kind of way. I would put it to the light or the gas symbol, and then I would ignite, and then I would check in below here to make sure that it did ignite. And then once I've confirmed that, I set my temperature of what I want the oven to reach, and then leave it. And then when I'm done, I can turn it off. Right over here is your little night or your lights. So if you up is just the lights here, and then down is those plus the light inside the oven. So it's nice to have those on at night. We don't want a lot of light on, just want a night light or something. They're a nice feature. Above that, you got your exhaust fan and lighting. So that's how that. So you turn out your light on and off, and then your fan on and off. Exhaust to the outside. So when you are cooking, we do recommend you run those and take that cooking outside. And then above that, you've got your residential style microwave, where just push in, have it come out, and then you've got all your different buttons. So it's just like you have in your house at that point. Following a little farther down, you've got your onboard central vac. So to run it, you press the off button. That will run. When it is time to run it, you take your hose, which is currently under your bed in your bedroom, in a bag, and you connect your hose in there, and then turn it on, and it will suck, and then you can run the hose wherever you need it. Now, to get into the bag, you push that over, and then open it up this way, and you'll see that there's an attached bag there, and a filter in there as well. So you can replace these bags in the parts store. We do carry them, and it's a great feature to have, to be able to clean up the unit. And then when you're done, you just push it back in, and then make sure it clicks in, and you're good to go. Central vac. Coming a little farther down, you do have your kitchen sink and countertop. Big farm style sink, so lots of space, and hot and cold running water in that area. Your patio door has a locking mechanism right here, which just attaches here. So then you slide that out and then push it back to lock it. Again, there's a screen door that comes with this. It's not currently on. It's on the bed for travel, but it will be installed. And then you get your fire extinguisher there in case there's ever an emergency. Coming into the living room area, TV on top connected to your stereo. It has options for radio and run the TV through the stereo for sound. Then you also have options for zones. So you have speakers inside this area of the unit and you have speakers outside. So you can run them one zone at a time or together depending on what you're looking for. It is Bluetooth compatible and you have some USB inputs too and some other inputs if you want to run some music through it. There's a couple of USB charging ports right here, and then below that you've got your fireplace. So the fireplace will change color, fan speed, and then temperature for heating. They're great on a sort of a chilly day when you don't really want to put the heat on, but just want a couple of minutes of heat that can warm up the area. You do need to be plugged in for this and the TV and everything to operate properly. So you need to be on that power. And then below that, you've got your fuse panel. So it's pressure sensitive, so you push in to get out. You've got all your fuses for the 50 amp power supply. And then you've got your 12 volt coming down here with your different push pin fuses. For these ones here, if they ever trip, they'll just do the breaker will switch over and cut the power to wherever it is in case you're drawing too much power somewheres. If that happens, come back to the fuse panel, make sure that these are all flipped to the right, to up and connected, and then you should be good. Now, if you do trip them occasionally, that's fine, but if it's happening all the time, maybe there's something that needs to be looked at in the electrical system. As well as on the 12 volt, you have these fuses, and if any of these go out, a little LED light will light up, telling you which one, and then you need to pull that fuse out and replace it with the same kind of fuse. These do burn out occasionally, but if you're continually burning the same fuse out, again, you might have a power draw that needs to be looked at. When these do go out, you will see a little red light, little red light come through here. So if you ever see a light in there, then there's a fuse that's out. In this area, you've got your wraparound seating with, I believe, some reclining areas here, which is great. And then you get a second coach over here for another place to sit for entertaining. So this unit is really set up for entertaining and having that kind of gatherings and stuff. Coming down the unit, you've got your table and chairs, and then your lights over each one. Again, these are they're LEDs, and they switched on and off on the wall right over here. So you can turn them on and off. And then last, we're going to move to the bathroom and into the bedroom. So this unit has a big shower, lots of space in there with your shower head and everything, and a fan up above. Your fan is operated by a control right up there, and you can open the vent itself manually. Then inside the bathroom, you've got your sink and lighting. So that's your light, GFI plug. So if you ever do lose power to the unit and you are you're plugged in, you can't figure out what's going on, make sure that this GFI plug hasn't tripped, because when that trips, it cuts power to the whole unit. Then you've got your hot and cold running water from your hot water tank, and your pressurized system, and then your toilet there on that side. And then finally, we have the master bedroom. So big walk around king size bed. This is your screen door I mentioned before, and then you've got your storage under there. So there's your handle for your stabilizers, plus the bag of stuff for your HVAC or your central vac. And you've got lots of storage in this area for your clothes and drawers and everything over there. And then your light switch is operated right over here. So that's your light switch. You do have a vented fan, or a vented thing on the roof here, so you can manually open that for a little bit of fresh air depending on what you're looking for. And that's your bedroom. So guys, that's the walkthrough. I hope we covered everything you needed or were looking for. If there's anything we missed, just give us a call and we'll be able to explain it.